Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto, and thank you that you clicked that clickbait title and thumbnail. Now, I promise you that only the title and thumbnail were clickbait. This video itself is going to be very, very valuable for tonight. All right, tonight we have the FOMC meeting, interest rate decision, Federal Reserve press conference. It's basically all the same, but I think you need to be prepared for that. All right, so I just wanted to give you my thoughts on all the different scenarios, what to expect. In reality, what to expect, I will give you my prediction at the end of this video, but in reality, what to expect is very difficult, right? It depends on what they will say at the press conference, and most importantly, it will depend on whether they will cut the interest rates by 25 or 50 base points, all right? Because I am 99% sure that it will either be a 25 or a 50 base points cut, so that's 0.25 or 0.5%. And that is what we'll see. I'll leave the link to this website down in the description so you can follow it yourself as well. You can follow the Federal Reserve press conference just at their website. Just type in Federal Reserve, click the website. But via this website, you can see in what time zone and at what time it is. But like I said, there's no way of fully knowing what's going to happen. But like I said, I'll talk about all the different scenarios and what will most likely, in my opinion, happen after that. So, like I said, we'll take a look at Bitcoin here. But for me, there's four different scenarios, and we'll start with the most likely scenarios, in my opinion. I think it is most likely, and that is also what most analysts also expect at this point of time, except for Polymarket. Polymarket expects a 50 base points decrease. I expect a 25 base points decrease. That can be bullish, can be bearish. Now, let's start off with why it can be bullish, and that's very simple, all right? Interest rates going down is great for asset markets. And if we look at all the other times that the interest rate for the first time was cut by 25 base points, as you can see, the first year for the S&P 500, which Bitcoin is correlated to at this point of time, was very bullish. All right, so therefore, a 25 base points cut in general would be bullish for me. However, I do so that's bullish, and also because I think a part of the market expects that a 50 base points cut would be bearish. All right, so then if it's actually 25 instead of 50, then the expectation is better, or at least the result is better than the expectation, if you know what I mean, because a 50 base points cut could indicate a recession coming, and therefore 25 base points would also be perceived as bullish. So that's the bullish side to 25 base points cut. The other scenario is that we expect, as Polymarket expects, for example, that we're going to get a 50 base points decrease. In that case, it's lower than expected, and that is bearish. And just in general, kind of to get to my prediction, I think a 25 base points decrease is going to lead to some sort of a sell the news effect. That is what you see quite often, but like I said, ultimately it remains bullish. So we might see some sort of a sell the news initially, but I do think that we will be able to hold the more bullish structure that we have formed, and that from there we will be able in the next couple of months to start to be bullish again, and start to get into an uptrend. But that's how the 25 base points cut could be perceived as bullish and bearish. Like I said, my personal prediction is that it will be perceived as bearish initially on the short term, followed by a bullish realization that it actually is strong. But therefore, like I said, depending on what the market expects, which is very difficult to estimate, we can see a bullish reaction initially and a bearish reaction initially, because it can be seen as lower than expected, but it could also be seen as, well, it's lower than expected, but at least it's not an indication of a recession coming. Now, a 50 base points cut is also a possibility. Like I said, I think it's less likely. But that can be perceived in two ways as well. First of all, if it's actually 50 base points and the market expects 25 base points, then it's more than expected, and that can be perceived as bullish, all right? Because the lower the interest rates, the better. However, like I said, and for that we get back to this, the last two times that the interest rate was cut by 50 base points initially, it actually caused very bearish market circumstances for stock markets. And therefore, that could be bearish for the S&P 500 as well. And that's why I think if we get a 50 base points decrease, I think we will initially see some sort of a sell the news effect as well, combined with some sort of recession fears, but that depends on what they will say at the press conference. And then I think the likelihood of getting into an uptrend later, which I do expect with a 25 base points decrease, so that's my prediction that we'll get that. Then I think the possibility of getting a bull run later becomes lower, all right, because people will be more fearful of some sort of a recession. So that's how both the 25 base points and the 50 base points cuts can lead to a bullish and bearish reaction. You have to think about this yourself a little bit as well, all right? What do you think the market expects? Does the market expect a 25 base points cut? Does the market expect a 50 base points cut? And depending on that, you can make your own kind of analysis as well and pick one of the scenarios. Like I said, personally, I think the market expects mostly a 25 base points cut. I think a portion of the market expects a 50 base points cut, but I think it will be a 25. So a portion of the market will say that's lower than expected, therefore bearish. Another portion will say, all right, well, that's great, but sell the news. We already got some bullish momentum before this. So that's why I told you I expect bearish momentum initially in the short term, but I do think a 25 base points cut, which I expect, which I predict, which I think is most likely, is bullish in the longer term, in the next couple of months, next year, for the asset markets, and therefore also for Bitcoin. Also taking into account that we will probably see more interest rates cuts. But that's what I think you need to know for now. I will also be live streaming during the event, in which we'll also listen to the press conference, which, like I said, that's going to be major as well. But for now, this is kind of what's going on, what the possibilities are, and what to expect, at least according to my prediction and my analysis. Those are my thoughts. If you do have any questions, let me know. For now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.